If you take on board these next 5 things that I am going to tell you, these ways of thinking, your life will dramatically change in the next 3 months. I promise you that. Let's do a test. You do these 5 things for the next 3 months, and we will be checking back in 3 months' time to see how much your life has changed, because I am walking testament of that fact. Some of these I have introduced in the last 2 months, and so much in my life has changed. So I'm going to take you through all of that. So if you want to know what they are, stay tuned, get comfortable. You know the drill, and you're going to sit with me for the next 20 minutes, and we're going to talk about 5 easy to adopt mindset shifts that will honestly change your life. Let's get this going. We gotta get this going. All right, let's get into it, because we've all got busy days and busy lives, and I'm here to deliver you the goods. Now is a better time than ever. All right, sit back down now. Hi there. Don't think of this as a complete life overhaul, okay? We're not about to tell you that you need to run a marathon, have some kids, move to the other side of the world. These are not difficult things to adopt into your life, I promise you. These are just 5 mindset shifts that you can make in your life that will dramatically change the way that your life flows. Because ultimately, that is the goal. We are here to flow with life and not to fight against it. I think if you're fighting against life, ultimately life then just feels like a bit of a battle, an uphill battle. And I'm not a hiker, nor do I like climbing. So I don't want to climb. I don't want to stressfully climb up the ladder of life. Adopting mindset shifts like this is literally just thinking of it as a muscle. Just like you would go to the gym. You cannot expect to go to the gym one day and then next day wake up with abs like Elle Macpherson. Wouldn't that be lovely? That would be delicious. But the best things in life are worth working for. So these things you need to practice, you need to flex like a muscle, and the more that you flex them, the easier they are to adopt into your life. If you've joined and maybe haven't watched any of my videos before, that's good, because there's only one at the moment. I'm gonna link the previous video where you can find a little bit about me. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, but I don't want to build a brand, I'm not interested in building a brand, so what relevancy does this channel have for me? This channel is here to inspire people to understand like what it takes to build a brand, but also all of the things that I'm going to share along this journey and all the things that I have learned through building brands is also really relevant to working on yourself as well. Think of yourself as the brand. There are so many life skills, things that I have learned through the entire process of building brands with founders that is so applicable to everyday life. And so I just want to share all of that. I really want to inspire people who are watching this, who are maybe contemplating with life changes, thinking about doing something differently. I'm here to tell you that you can, and I'm here to give you skill sets and learnings that I have learned along the way. Great. Love that reversing truck in the background. Really hoping you can't hear that, but it's interrupted my flow. And I have to owe you all an apology. I owe you an apology because I said in the last video that by the time that that video was released, you would know exactly what we are doing. However, I'm gonna be really, really honest with you right now, as I will always be. We are in the process and have been in the process of waiting for our trademark for our brand. We submitted this pre-Christmas. Trademarks take time. So for those who don't know, a trademark ultimately will protect your brand from anybody coming along, liking what they see, and then ultimately ripping it off. I'll go into that more in another video, but basically we're waiting for the trademark to come through. It is coming through in a matter of weeks. I'm not the most superstitious person in the world. However, it does not feel right for me to make a big song and dance about what we are doing until that comes through. We celebrated last week 1 whole year of building the brand. How exciting is that? I promise I'm not keeping you hanging. I promise all of that content is to come. But like I said, until that trademark lands through, on our desk and we get confirmation that we are protected, I feel a little bit uneasy saying any more. Mindset shift number 1. I like to call this the do the opposite theory. Now, there is a book that I would highly recommend, and it is called The Chimp Paradox. Some of you may have read it, but it completely transformed my mindset, how I think about my mind, how I approach difficult conversations, how I approach life, literally how I live. That you have 2 aspects of your mind. You have the human and you have the chimp. The chimp aspect of your mind comes from a place of fear. It wants to protect you. It wants to get you to do things that keep you safe, and I'll use safe in inverted commas because it's not actually keeping you safe. It wants to protect you, but in reality it's actually making sure that you are not growing. For one, identify with a lot of the thoughts that happen in my mind when in reality, and there's that famous saying, and I can't remember who said it, but we are not our thoughts. Ultimately, when I have a thought in my mind that I know is my chimp, because you can identify when it's your chimp because it will come from an emotional place. The human brain comes from a place of logic and the chimp brain comes from emotion. And I think as long as you remember that fundamental thing, it then means that when you're having thoughts and they have an emotional lens on them, that a smart thing to do is to do the opposite. Here's a really good example. I went live on TikTok the other day. Love that for me after the fact. Didn't love the idea of it before the fact. But do you know why I did it? Because in my mind, I had the chimp brain tapping into me and saying, don't go live. Oh my God, how mortifying, how embarrassing. What if nobody joins? All of that time, the trick is to let those thoughts happen. Don't fight them. Don't try and block them out. They are gonna happen. They are inevitable. But I let them ride it out. I let the chimp have its say. And then I just said, no, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to do the opposite of what my chimp brain was telling me. And so I did. I went live. And you know what? I surprised myself. I really enjoyed it. I spent 45 minutes on there. You'll be surprised who pops on. I got over 500 views. And to be honest, I enjoyed the whole thing. 9 times out of 10, if you do the opposite of what your chimp brain is telling you, it will always, always, always turn out better than how your chimp is making you think it will be. It's one of the most freeing things to remember ever. It's changed my life. It makes me do things that I usually would have put off because I was scared. So just try it. See what happens. Do the thing that your brain is telling you not to do. In the comment section, I want you to write it down. I dare you to write it down. Look back in a few months' time at this video, come back, change your mindset and see what happens. Mindset shift number 2, choose the path less comfortable. Choose the more uncomfortable route and see what happens to your life. Greatest things happen in the uncomfortable moments. You will start to lean into those moments more, and what that will do, enable your mind to understand that actually nothing that bad is going to happen if you do something uncomfortable. Choosing to leave my job was obviously a very big uncomfortable feeling, super scary. And I am convinced only when you're feeling uncomfortable when the great things happen. Only then are you really going to step in to your true self and your true abilities and your power when you step into the uncomfortable moments. If you keep yourself safe and you avoid uncomfortable things, how do you grow? Ask yourself, how do you grow? Reflect on the past year and things that you have done that have been uncomfortable, and not only think about the things that you have learned from those experiences, but also think about how much you have grown through those experiences. And I want you to spend the next 3 months getting a little bit uncomfortable, doing things that make you uncomfortable, and just seeing on the other side of it how much better you feel. I'm sorry, I have an itchy eyebrow. Gosh. Mindset shift number 3. Now, this is a really important one, and this is something that I have only really started adopting from a personal perspective. If I'm not going to be number 1, I'm not really interested. Now, obviously, that comes from a perfectionist mindset, and it has considerably held me back in life. So we're getting rid of that. Consistency over anything. Do not be put off because your videos aren't getting views, because your work is not being recognized. The difference between successful people and those who are not is consistency. Do not let that negative thought in your mind, that again is probably the chimp harping up and telling you that you're not good enough and you haven't done enough and you're not big enough and you're not growing enough and you're not succeeding enough. Don't let that enter your mind. There are going to be times where you fail. Do not, under any circumstances, let that make you stop. How would you feel if you stopped now? How would you feel in a month's time, in a year's time, in 5 years' time? If you gave up today on something that you were really passionate about, just sit and ask yourself. Don't tell yourself that you wouldn't be bothered, because you know you would be bothered. That, I find, helps to put me back on track, to remember why I started and to keep going. There is that famous saying, I cannot remember who said it. Oops. Turns out Winston Churchill said this along the lines of, success is not final and failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Chef's kiss. Another great quote that I love is, success isn't the absence of failure, it is the perseverance despite it. You are one failure away from succeeding. Ask yourself how you'd feel if you found out after you decided today that you were sacking it in, giving up, and then tomorrow somebody told you that you were one failure away from succeeding, from hitting that milestone. What would you do? How would you feel? If it was me, I would be really, really effing annoyed that I gave up. And the reality of the situation is you will never actually know when that moment is coming. You'll know after the fact, but you won't know before. So you have to keep going. I actually don't really give myself a choice. It's to keep going or to not exist. Quite dramatic, I know, but for me, that really helps me by not having the choice. Quitting is just not a choice. Remind myself of why I'm here, remind myself of why I'm building this brand, remind myself of why I chose to leave my job, remind myself of what I want to do and how I want my life to look, remind myself of all of those moments when you're having a bit of a weak moment, which we all have, and it is completely normal. But just remember, quitting is not an option. And when you take away that choice, when you remove quitting as even an option in your life, God, the whole thing becomes a lot easier. Because it's just keep moving on, it's keep moving forward, it's keep going straight, keep going after the goal. I promise you, if you adopt that mindset, you'll see exponential benefits in your life. Mindset shift number 4, set a routine and be strict with it. And if you're watching this and you think routine, I'm not interested in this, bugger off. Now, obviously, working for yourself, I think having a routine is more important than ever. When you work for someone else or you have the structure of heading into an office or working on set times, it's a lot easier, obviously, because your routine is kind of almost carved out for you. But the downside of that is because it's already carved out for you, there is a lack of feeling of control over your decisions because you feel like, well, the routine's already set for me. But that doesn't mean that you still can't create your own routine. The power of creating a routine allows you to then create goals. And I like to set my goals day by day. Setting daily goals and having a routine of things that you do and that you know make you feel good. For example, some things of a routine that I have set for myself since working for myself. I don't do lie-ins. I don't let myself wake up whenever I feel like it. I use an app called Sleep Cycle. Not sponsored, just love the app. If you don't track your sleep, then I would strongly recommend using the app. It's very, very good, and it ensures that you wake up at a time that is good based on where you are in your sleep cycle. Wake up between 6:30 and 7:30 every single day. Without fail, I wake up. I boil a kettle and I make myself a hot water with lemon. I journal for 10 minutes. I set a timer on my app. I ask Siri to set 10 minutes and I write for 10 minutes, whatever I want. I do that every single morning without fail. And then I whip out my goal diary, my weekly planner, and I put in 2 or 3 goals that I want to achieve that day. Don't write 10. Don't write 10 goals that you want to achieve that day because you'll feel overwhelmed and you'll be off when you get to the end of the day, and high chances are you may not have completed all 10. because you're setting unrealistic expectations. I either do Pilates or I go to spin. I'm trying to be really strict with this at the moment. I banned my social media for the first hour of waking because honestly, before Christmas, I did not have a good routine with that. And there is something about watching social media and scrolling your feed from the minute that you wake up that is just terrible for the soul. You have no control over the videos that you're going to receive and that you're going to watch. No way of knowing if they're positive or not. And then your day is just set off on some direction that you had absolutely no control over. So park the phone for an hour, no social media, no Instagram, no TikTok, no YouTube, no Twitter, no anything. None of that. You do not need to have a routine that lasts 5 hours, okay? You just need a number of things that you do every single morning, and the satisfaction and the gratification you will feel after setting a routine and sticking to it for even after a week, you will feel amazing. You have a clear idea of the things that you can achieve when you stick to things repeatedly and consistently. Mindset shift number 5. Discipline over motivation every single day of the week. Motivation is fleeting. And it is your responsibility and nobody else's responsibility to ensure that that is when discipline steps in. Discipline is the ability to do something despite the fact that there could be every factor around you telling you not to do it, or that it's a bad idea, or that you can't be bothered. Discipline is what's going to get you to where you want to be. To tell you a complete and honest story, I have always been really disciplined. I think that came from my parents. I had a lot of pressure on me growing up, and so because of that, I was disciplined. And an aspect of that tied into fear of doing something wrong. If you're a people pleaser and you can resonate with that, then I see you. Doing your best is the goal. A thing I like to think about when I'm maybe not feeling the most motivated some days, help me get back on track and to stay disciplined, is I see it as an act of rebellion. It sounds a little bit weird. When I don't want to do something and that voice is telling me to just take the easy route and to not be motivated, and I'm not motivated and I don't want to do the thing that I know I need to do, going against that lack of motivation by doing it when I know everything in me is telling me not to do it, and reminding myself that if I do it, there is no chance in hell that in the long run I'm going to regret doing it. Remind yourself how incredible it's going to feel when you reach that goal. Have to have discipline to achieve your goals. Here we have all 5 theories. I know I am so good to you, so screenshot them, save them, make notes, however you want to remember them, but you can take these with you every single day so you don't forget. I really hope that those 5 mindset shifts give you some inspiration on where to start. And if 5 of them all seem a little bit overwhelming, then start with 1. Pop what it is that you're focusing on for these next 3 months in the comments, and then you can check back and see your progress. I'm doing this with you. If you want to see more of these videos, then you know what to do. Please subscribe, and see you in the next video. Guys, just wanted to show you I'm in my Canadian tuxedo, and if I'm honest, I'm obsessed. Thoughts? This is not the most flattering angle for me. Not sure what's going on with my hair. Honestly, copper girlies, if you're watching this, this has had dramatically positive effects on my life. So sorry, that's very noisy.